Hi, I'm Yvette Jones, and this is Talk Fulton. On today's show, the Fulton County Jail and the nearby community are now safer thanks to the installation of new jail locks. We'll talk one-on-one with the chief jailer. And later, Fulton's young leaders are teaching their peers how to interact with law enforcement. We'll talk about their Passport to Your Legal Rights handbook. All this and more on Talk Fulton, starting now. We're talking today about another major step by the Fulton County Sheriff's Office to make the Rice Street Jail safer. Nearly 1,500 jail locks have been replaced, and now inmates are finding it very difficult to slip out of their cells. FGTV's Priscilla Ortega has our story.
About 40,000 people are processed into the Fulton County Jail each year. And it's the sheriff's responsibility to provide safety for these inmates as they await trial and serve out their sentence. But because of antiquated locks, inmates were frequently popping out of their cells. Last year, more than 46 incidents of inmates getting out of their cells were reported. That safety threat has been eliminated with the installation of new cell locks.
The lock install that occurred here at the Fulton County Jail took almost a year. We started back in August of 2013, and it involved removing all of the old locks that were in the inmate housing areas, one pod at a time, and then replacing them with the new upgraded lock sets and enclosures that were purchased. We had to move inmates out of those housing units, and some of those inmates had to be relocated to outsourced locations in DeKalb, Cobb, and Douglas counties, and then we just moved from pod to pod until we completed the process here in the early part of July of 2014.
When the jail was constructed in the mid-'80s, it was a minimum security facility. The locks were less problematic, less tamper-resistant, and the inmates less technically savvy.
You could pop the lock with the core of a toilet tissue roll, or several sheets of notebook paper. It was very simple to pop the lock. It was all about the power of popping the lock. Whoever could get out of the cell could basically terrorize other cellmates.
The new locks provide more security for jail staff and inmates.
You can't wiggle these out. You can't jimmy these and get in there. They have to pop them from up top. So it's a little bit safer for the inmate.
The new locks have a motorized lock. The motor's out and motor's back in, so that provides more security.
Colonel Mark Adger says the project was completed on time and under budget. The jail has been under federal oversight since 2006, following a lawsuit over dangerous and overcrowded conditions. Colonel Adger says the new lock system will help answer part of that problem.
The locks here at the Fulton County Jail are no longer a consent item issue that has to be continuously monitored. So that reduces what we have to show to the federal courts that we're ready to be released from supervision.
Reporting for FGTV, I'm Priscilla Ortega.
Colonel Mark Adger, Fulton County's chief jailer, joins us now from downtown Atlanta. Sir, welcome to Talk Fulton. Thanks for being here.
A pleasure to be here.
So please give our viewers a little more background on the history of the jail locks and how they came to be problematic.
Well, the jail itself is over 25 years old, and even before the completion of the jail back in 1989, the locks were designed many years before that. So when you couple the tampering that the inmates do to the locks and the wear and tear that also occurs on any hardware item that you use day in and day out, it was time to upgrade to something that was much stronger and much more tamper resistant.
It sounds like certainly good news. Tell us a little bit more about the new locks.
Well, what we did was we have two types of locks in the inmate housing units in the Fulton County Jail. We have doors that are on hinges, and they have your typical locks that are turned with a key. And then our maximum security area has sliding doors that are operated by an electronic door operator. The old locks and the old door operators were weaker key sets, and the door operators were operated by a chain-driven motorized system. And all of that had just worn out completely. There was no useful life left in any of that equipment. What we did was we went out to a vendor. As a matter of fact, we invited several vendors to compete for this contract, and we looked to not only replace these lock sets and door operators, but also leverage the latest technology that we could to prevent tampering with the new lock sets and door operators so that they will have a useful and long life.
Sounds like a very forward-thinking process. Now, safety is, of course, an issue for the inmates, the officers, and the community, correct?
That is correct.
Talk a little bit about that.
Well, one of the things that you have to have in a jail situation, and keep in mind that we are a pretrial detention facility, and a lot of the people that are in the facility are innocent until proven guilty, but still there has to be security. And what you don't have when you have locks that do not function as they intend are the inmates will get out of their cells, go into other cells, and victimize inmates who are just here serving their time or waiting for their trial to come up. Also, you have situations where when inmates are out of their cells and possibly out to court or out for a medical appointment, other inmates going into their cells and stealing their property. That's problematic because now you have angry inmates on both ends. Inmates are going to want their property back and probably a measure of revenge from the individuals that stole their property. And then, of course, the thief is going to want to keep what he took. So we're trying to keep the environment of the jail calm and secure so that people can do their time, get through this process as uneventful as they can.
Understood. Well, what was the biggest challenge getting the new locks, if you could speak to that?
Well, one of the biggest challenges was evaluating the technology that's involved. We looked at several vendors. We tried several remedial solutions to our old locking problems. We added steel plates. We added stronger latches. We replaced door hinges, but none of that seemed to work. But the one thing that we found going through this process was, although replacing all the locks is a costly matter, the replacement locks did not cost any more than the old locks when they were brand new. So the cost savings there was actually realized and helped us get this project not only done on time, but under budget. And the budget is always your primary concern because you have got to be good stewards of the taxpayers' money.
Certainly so, certainly so. Now, the federal consent decree, now that the locks are in place, you mentioned that it's no longer an issue with the decree, correct?
That is correct. And fortunately, when you're dealing with a mechanical situation where if you have a mechanical issue that you can quickly solve by buying the right equipment, that's fairly easy to overcome any issues that may have been involved. And I think in this particular case, with the time that it's taken to not only install all the equipment, but the prototyping that we did, all the testing that we did, we were able to show the court and the plaintiff's counsel that we picked the right equipment, that this equipment is going to address their issues, what their concerns were, and that it's going to work over a long period of time.
Oh, that's good to hear. Now, there is some other news out of the Sheriff's Office, your mobile app. Can you explain that to us?
Sure. My pleasure, actually. We have a duty to the citizens of Fulton County when there is a dangerous inmate, such as someone who is accused of stalking or aggravated stalking, to notify the victims in those cases when that inmate is going to be released from the jail. And before our app was available, we would have to do that manually over the phone. And if we weren't able to connect with someone over the phone, then we would have to attempt over and over again, and that's manpower intensive. And it also allows for error to occur. People simply get tired of using the phone, making those calls, and the ball gets dropped. Well, in March of 2014, we implemented a VINE victim notification system. We have VINE Watch and we have Mobile Patrol. VINE Watch is used specifically on the internet. You can go online with your computer, desktop computer, Or if you're out and about and you have a Android phone or iOS device, you can download those apps and you can search for inmates that are in the Fulton County Jail. And if you care to be notified about their custody status change, you can register with the app and receive those notifications anytime that custody does change. The app services anyone that English language, Spanish, and hearing impaired, so that everyone in the community can be updated to the status of an inmate that they're particularly concerned about.
Wow, you gotta love technology. Any final thoughts here today?
I'd like to just thank the citizens of Fulton County. To date, we've had tremendous success with both the new locks, and we've had tremendous success with Mobile Patrol. Over 18,000 searches have been done on Mobile Patrol, and over 1,300 users have registered with Mobile Patrol. So I just encourage everyone out there to use what is available to make your life easier and safer.
Colonel Adger, thank you so much for reassuring the public about the jail safety. We do appreciate your time.
It's my pleasure.
All right, when we come back, how to make sure your teen knows how to interact with law enforcement in case they are ever stopped. Stay with us. Welcome back. National news reports continue to highlight a growing number of altercations involving young people and law enforcement. From the Trayvon Martin case in Florida to the Michael Brown case in Ferguson, Missouri, these incidents are proving to be a teachable opportunity for one of the county's young group of leaders. FGTV's Shania Chavis has our story.
You are now duly sworn in as a Fulton County Youth Commissioner.
When the Fulton County Youth Commissioners took their oath to serve this year, many of them had ideas of how they could help to shape their generation in their own community. From peer-on-peer gun and gang violence to youth drug addiction, no topic is off limits for this young group of emerging leaders. But it's stories and cases like Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown that involve the killing of young men by law enforcement that presents an excellent opportunity for the youth commissioners to teach young people how to interact with law enforcement so that a simple incident doesn't turn into a tragedy. The lessons come from the Youth Commissioner's Handbook called A Passport to Your Legal Rights.
Joining us now to talk about the campaign by the Youth Commissioners is Reginald Crossley with the Office of Children and Youth. Welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to join you.
Now tell everyone what the Passport to Your Legal Rights is.
Well, the Passport to Your Legal Rights is a pocket-sized handbook designed to equip our young people with the knowledge necessary for a wide range of laws and how to interact with police officers. This booklet features Georgia's 7 deadly sins, which is one of the main set of laws that many of our young people are falling victim to.
Now, this isn't new, but it's extremely timely, would you say?
Yes, we have emphasized disorderly conduct and your Miranda rights. Young people should all know what officers can and cannot do and what rights they have when interacting with an officer. But many young people are not aware of how serious disorderly conduct is, and they oftentimes don't know that they can be arrested for talking back, or if an officer feels disrespected, that automatically is considered as disorderly conduct.
Now, how receptive are the peers of your youth commissioners to this kind of handbook? Do they understand why this is so important to address, especially given all the incidents involving young people and law enforcement across the country?
Absolutely. Young people, I believe, their interest has heightened due to the recent occurrences in the media, but more so because now they're able to equip themselves to prevent similar occurrences from happening to them.
Now, this handbook is really just the tip of the iceberg in terms of the work that the youth commissioners undertake. Talk about how they have been able to make an impact in our community in general.
Yes, the Youth Commission is engaged in a wide range of services. Many of what we do is within violence prevention, gang prevention, life skills, career development, health and obesity. We work on many things that are essential to young people. But what makes it unique is that our young people actually identify the initiatives that we work on. We go into communities and we host focus groups and panel discussions. We even disseminate questionnaires to get an accurate gauge on what we will work on for the year. And in turn, this helps us create what we call our action agenda. And this is where we identify 4 to 6 initiatives that we'll take on and that we'll offer solutions to and help combat many of these challenges young people face within Fulton County.
So a very hands-on process for the young people. Now, what kinds of teenagers are you looking for on the Youth Commission?
Well, we don't have a specific kind of students that we look for. However, we would like young people who have an interest in community. Many of the students currently on the Youth Commission are young people who have an interest in the political arena, who aspire to be attorneys, who are debaters within their schools. So, but primarily, we look for young people who have an interest in community and who want to help in some way, shape, or form.
Awesome starting point. Now, what's the process to apply and when do they apply each year?
Well, our application process begins spring of every year, and the application deadline is usually the last day of school. However, all school counselors, teachers also receive emails and flyers, and we do a wide range of promotional things to ensure that all students are aware of the program and its deadline.
Now, if there is a bottom line to the type of work this class of youth commissioner does, what would you say that bottom line is?
Well, the bottom line is this: we are involved in the community. We are the voice and the ear of youth within Fulton County. We represent the youth, we identify what the needs are, and then we advocate for those needs. And we offer solutions, and we work with elected officials on all levels to ensure that we are meeting the needs of the youth, but in turn working with elected officials to join forces on how to best address those issues.
Awesome job. Well, thank you so much for coming and speaking with us today about all of the work you're doing. We appreciate your time.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now you can contact Reginald Crossley directly to get more information about the youth commissioners. He's just an email or a phone call away. We, of course, will be right back. And finally, on Talk Fulton, you, the public, asked and Fulton answered. Friday hours have been restored at 12 Fulton County Library branches. Earlier in the year, hours were modified to meet budget challenges. Staff reworked their plan and found a way to open up at some branches on Friday without needing any additional funds. Visit the library's website to get the full list of hours for all of the branches. Well, once again, a special thanks to Chief Jailer Mark Adger and Reginald Crossley from Children and Youth, and a special thanks to you for watching. That is all of our time. We invite you to email us to let us know what topics you'd like to see addressed on Talk Fulton. Email us at fgtv.feedback@fultoncountyga.gov. I'm Yvette Jones. We'll see you next time.